Music, industry talk, stories, equipment and more. We are Crossfader and this is off the record. Off the record. Off the record.
Hello. Welcome back to this week's Off the Record DJ podcast. It's December.
Ho ho.
'Tis the season. Oh, was that Santa?
Ho ho ho. You go a bit deeper.
'Tis the season. It's been a while, hasn't it? Because we had James on, and then we missed a week. Last week you was ill. You had a nightmare
illness
week.
around in the family.
You had a nightmare
Boiler, no heating.
No
There
heating.
was so much drama. It was just one of those weeks where one thing after another started going wrong, and it just all piles on at once. So I was only in the office one day last week.
Danny was ill and off. So it was like, I don't think you want to listen to me talk for an hour. So it wasn't on, sorry. But the week before, obviously, we had James Hyde. We've not talked about it since. But big thanks to James for coming on the podcast. Big success. I think it's had nearly 25,000 views. And then the actual clips have done hundreds and hundreds
I
of thousands.
personally really enjoyed listening because it sidelined with like my career.
Yeah.
As a resident DJ, and I remember all the things he was talking about all the things he was doing and the experiences, and it was really interesting because I go back to that moment and think, oh yeah, I remember when he was like going to America, but then it was all over social media, and he was obviously building up something around that, and it was interesting to hear the other side of that from his perspective of why he did those things.
I said it at the end of the podcast, but I rate him so much because he reached out to us and said, I'm in Leeds, let's do something. If you haven't checked it out, go and watch the James Hype episode.
You went down to the Get Closer
Went
show,
down to the
didn't you?
gig, invited us down, and it was really cool. And I think just the attention to detail more than anything. So he was on a tour bus as a team of, I think, 14. So I went down there, watched them like build up the rigs because they were touring around with a whole rig. He's not making any money from the shows because no club can afford to put on that kind of show.
Yeah.
So he's got a full team with it. Saw them putting it up, saw the attention to detail, like the level of detail that went into it. Met Seb, who was his warm-up. Rewire was there, good to catch up with Rewire. And the show was just great. And the fan base, did the fan base surprise me? It didn't surprise me, but it was...
You said it was older than you thought.
It was older, but then it mixed. Yeah, there was a lot of... because he was on a good time. I think he came on at like 9 p.m, I think. Yeah, 9 p.m. So, yeah, and it was midweek. So, yeah, there was a lot of like over 30s in there. But when they're fans, I've rarely been... I went to Tomorrowland and got a lot of attention just from Crossfader. Like, a lot of people knew me. And I think if you are a fan of James Hype, you are a fanatic of DJing.
Yeah.
He's kind of that character, and like if you love what he does, then you must be into DJing.
Yeah.
So obviously a lot of people knew me from Crossfader and said a lot of nice things. So shout out if you were there. But yeah, really cool to go down, hang out. Go listen to that story. I think we're going to chat to Rewire in the new year as well. It is nearly Christmas, so it's Spotify Wrapped week, which is always mental, isn't it? And I think you know where he's got to at the point. There's more memes about Spotify Wraps now than people posting their Spotify Wraps. Do you know, producers and that?
Yeah.
It's more like it's more cool to make fun out of it than it is to actually like post your success.
I've seen it's been 10 years of the whole Wrapped thing. It was 10 years ago that they started doing Wrapped.
Yeah. The weirdest part of the Wrapped was the summaries of like your genre. So in the office,
I need to get mine.
yeah. Well, I've got a few screenshots here. So there was a weird section in Spotify Wrapped where it's give you like. It was
AI basically.
Yeah, AI summed up your personality and genre. But one of the genre was creative early electronica French house, rainy day slow dance indie folk, pumpkin spice permanent wave grunge, and like
There was something about pink something
I am-
Pilates.
yeah, Afrobeats. And there was McBling throwback pop R&B season. I'm like, what is happening? I'll say, imagine requesting that at a gig.
There's two minds here. I wonder if they did it to create such a talking point
Definitely.
that it's something new
Something
for
to
people
talk
to talk about. And
Yeah.
it's the age of AI, and they've obviously thought, let's do something that's like
Stupid.
tongue-in-cheek with AI
Yeah.
that
100%.
people are going to pick up on.
Just a few of our stats. Obviously, thanks for staying with us all this podcast year, and it's been amazing. So, just some of our spots we've had stats from our Off the Record podcast. We've had 73% increase in listeners. So, hello to any new listeners. Thank you so much. 2024 gains. We've had 62% more followers, 54% more streams. Follower growth has increased. Average rating 4.8. Thanks a lot. Wherever you rate, like, thanks for rating. If you want to give us a rating, that'd be amazing.
Do more. We don't know where you do it, but go do it.
We're in 81 countries were streamed, which is really amazing. So, thanks to like some of the guests that have come on. We had like Mark Knight, James Hype. We had Zoe London. We've had Rob R from Sri Lanka. The Tool Room podcast. Thanks for all the guests that have come through and then just us mucking about. But thanks to you for tuning in like week in, week out. And we thought we'd do a bit of a wrap on the industry. It is 2024 going in 2025. Spotify wraps out. So we thought, let's wrap up the industry. Let's wrap up our year as Crossfader. Let's wrap up some major events in the industry, talk about them, and then some of the equipment that's been launched, and then just a few talking points. So we'll start with like major DJ industry news, some fun ones and some interesting ones. Some meme ones. Remember when Grimes messed up at Coachella? Yeah. That was like a big one, wasn't it? Because it was like, I think it was like, oh God, yeah, that happened on a big stage. Like, it's happened to me before.
Was it Grimes where basically they called out Record Box as well, or was that someone else?
So Grimes she was basically mixing drum and bass, but it had analysed it as like half the tempo or double the tempo or something. So when she's gone to sync, it's gone like extra treble speed on her, and she's didn't know how to fix it, I think. So, and I think like all the DJs were just like, know your beat grids. Yeah. It was just one of them weird moments that like go beyond the DJ industry and everyone hears about it, but then all of a sudden there's loads of attention on DJ industry.
I mean, it's a prime example of why all the time I say in our beginner courses, here's how you use sync, but don't rely on it because of this exact reason. Yeah. Things can go wrong. You need to be able to take control yourself and be able to do it with your ears and know how to rectify the situation, because sync is not always your best friend.
No.
If it goes wrong badly.
Big time.
And you get locked into a bad mix.
And then even when you press out of sync, sometimes it doesn't go back.
It keeps it at that BPM until you have to move the tempo adjust.
With Serato, it's great. You press out of sync and it goes back
to whatever the
with Record Box. You have to fiddle with the tempo adjust to get it. Like, I don't get that. Anyway, this year also the whole Pioneer trying to buy Serato and then In Music blocking it was I feel like it started the year before. It bled in, but it's basically done now. I think it's game over. But it just like leave the question like what is next? Because I think Serato were trying to sell off, obviously, or I don't know if.
I mean, I've got an email this morning. I can't say anything about it because it's under embargo about something new coming from Serato, but it's not what you think.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
We'll probably cover it, but it's not really our forte. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't really know where they're going.
I think most of the people think it was a good thing because you can't have in this industry one big giant taking over all of the software and then forcing us to pay X amount for the only thing that is in use for DJs. So competition is great. I think it needed to happen. It does leave everyone a bit of limbo, and it does.
It's weird though, isn't it? Because DJ software is becoming more and more like an operating system. It's like an OS. Yeah. So it's so that hardware can run.
Yeah.
That's very rare that people will use the software just by itself.
Yeah, sure.
It's to enable the hardware. And if you look at other industries in technology, like the phone industry, for example, Android have their own operating system and Apple have their own operating system, and it's like they take care of the software and the hardware, right? But in the DJ industry, there's a few different softwares out there that don't have the kind of like, can we just like provide the software for your hardware, and it's this third party thing.
Relying on someone.
Yeah, that obviously since Pioneer being the market leaders made Record Box, it threw that ecosystem out anyway. And this is where it was interesting. It's like, well, if they acquired Serato, it could make their ecosystem 10 times stronger. But then there's that weird fine line all the time between Serato working with other hardware manufacturers who are competitors, and competition's good, but I can also see where like there's a bit of a mismatch in the industry from where it was like there were people that made hardware and there were people that made software and they worked together. Now, since Record Box, ultimately, there's Pioneer DJ or Alpha Theta that make the hardware and software, and then you've got In Music who make lots of different hardware and one software, but then want to use other softwares as well for Newmark and for Rain, and so it's a bit weird. It's definitely a bit weird.
It was also the sort of year of, I know it was probably 2023, but the year of Alpha Theta dropping Alpha Theta products. We're going to talk about like best DJ equipment this year and controversial equipment and that thing. But it was the kind of like them going, oh, this is it now kind of thing. This is the products we're going to drop, and call us this now. So it was all a bit messy.
It's very messy.
Very messy year, but we've also got some great products out of it, which we'll sort of come on to.
It's definitely shaken up the DJ music, the DJ industry from a business front of like people having understanding of equipment. Just that whole name change. It's still that having to claw that reputation back with a new name in a way. Yeah, they're still selling loads of products, but it's the brand. They've lost that brand, you know, and that's going to die off more and more as the years go on, and no more pioneer DJ products get released.
You know what it is? People have just dropped the Alpha Theta. You know, with the AZ and the Flex. You just say Flex 2, you say AZ.
Yeah.
People used to say, "Oh, have you got a Pioneer?"
I think they're even doing that as well.
Yeah, fair. Like, fine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't call it the Apple iPhone. Do you know what I mean? It's like fair. Yeah, but it's given us something to talk about. I was like, oh yeah. So another one was a huge leap in technology when, and not too long ago, a couple of months ago, when you flew out to Munich to meet Algorithm DJ. The big VR revolution, which is a revolution. A revolution is probably not the right word, but a good introduction of DJ software just going on a bit of a different level. And I think there's different markets what they're going after, which we spoke about before in a previous episode. But you know, there's the quote unquote serious DJ who'll have, you know, an XZ who plays to a crowd, but then there's the maybe hobbyist or just a kid in their bedroom who wants to just try this thing out in VR. A bit of a mishmash of both, but regardless of who's going to use it and what the lane is or anything like that, like it was just very a cool thing and an unbelievable step forward in technology of DJing.
Exactly that, and that's what it is. I think we're at the start of a new wave of something. It might not be that it ends up being all in headsets. I don't know, but this augmented reality, mixed reality thing, there's something in that with DJing for sure. Yeah. And it's definitely not going anywhere, and it's nice to see that there's development happening in that space, and it's not just like you're either in a virtual world or you're in the real world. By bringing them together, there's something there.
And combining it with DJ products was like a big thing for me. Is like you can get like real life practice on your DJ equipment, but you're in some sort of space, or you know, as we were talking about it, like as this evolves, you'll probably be able to DJ live in front of various crowds and stuff, which is cool. Working with them working with Meta and Apple and stuff like that, it's amazing. So it was a big shift. I want to talk about like music culture. Like it was a huge year for Afro House. You was out on IMS. Yeah, they were all raving about Afro House. You've got Kai Music, who are like the number one artist in the world. Not even just DJ producer artists, like artists, all blowing up, and it's more like cultural than anything. It's not like really a trend. It is really like born from something, things that really surpass, a bit like UK garage, things that really surpass popular culture and become an entity of its own, come from like a cultural thing. It's a trend on, you know, social media can't change like a cultural feeling. Do you know what I mean? No. It has to build and come from a place of authenticity, and it's been bubbling for a while. You know, you've got not Green Velvet, Black Coffee, sorry. You know, championing it from years back, and it's slowly like took onto a different level. And like I say, it's like Kai Music blowing up, and they're all talking about it in IMS, weren't they? And Beatport charts have said it's like the third highest popular or something now. It's like, I mean,
they're all championing it, and I think it's a movement accessible. that they're all very interested in. It's because it's tapped into the electronic music scene. Yeah. That is the first time we're seeing an abundance of, you know, Afro house by having the house element in there. The electronic scene that's been around for years now suddenly is taking a bigger notice in it because it's been labeled in that way, and because there's so much more being produced in that style that it's hard to ignore. And like you were saying, I think it's almost that I don't want to say this whereby the genre's obviously been there a long time.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not saying that, but it's developed the genre into something that isn't going to go anywhere now. It's in the mainstream, staple. And it's going to always be there, I think. Just like you could argue the fact that like dubstep, it was as a genre that does come and go. There's still people out there that have dubstep fans, but it's not in the mainstream. But everyone knows what dubstep is, and everyone can like think of, you know, a few popular dubstep tracks from you know years ago and ones that maybe are popular today. And I think Afro House has now solidified itself this year as a mainstream
next to
genre,
next to like tech house.
That will stand the test of time now, and there'll always be people making that music now that maybe don't come from Africa. Even there's people from all over the world that will want to make that kind of music and be inspired and love and start producing that sort of stuff.
Love it. And the last one I want to sort of bring to the table of like almost a shock, but Tractor Pro coming out of nowhere, coming out of the sidelines, just to be like, oh, hello, we're back. And just to give you a bit of behind the scenes, we've been having meetings with Native Instruments about doing stuff with Tractor next year. But yeah, they seem to be back. They seem to have got like a new team behind it, new energy behind it. There's new bits in the software to get excited about, and because of the stature of Native Instruments, and because of the sort of robustness of the original Tractor software, it is exciting. It's not like a new company coming out and you're like, don't know what it is. It's like, no, these are proper guys. This is a proper software. And DJs that have used it forever don't really ever change because it's so like good and robust. Our issue's been that we haven't really made much content or anything because there hasn't been much new to shout about. Now, I know it's like you try and speak to every DJ on a platform like this, but it is hard when there's so much going on with other software and popular software, and you're getting the feedback.
It garners your attention more because there's so much more going on.
So it's great. Just remind us of what was in the Tractor.
So you got flexible beat grids, which these are things like that have been around for years and years and years, and people in the Tractor community were just craving and crying out for. Please. You got the flexible beat gridding, and then you also got the stems, which was sort of not the Tractor did those original stems where it was from the file. This is stems like the real-time stems that we're all used to. So they were the key things really. But it's just nice to know that they are putting more energy back into their DJ software, and they have this now number 4 to build upon. I think they got away with it because it wasn't like they were trying to do stuff for the last 10 years and going off on a tangent and changing their software totally. They had, like you said, such a strong software that even though they haven't done much for 10 years, it was still so powerful and strong that they can kind of just hit the ground running again and just add some of these key features and then build upon the brand and the platform again. So I'm super excited about it.
I think so,
because it is. And do you know what the thing is about Tractor? It's always had its own lane, and it's still not really been... I still feel like it's got a very strong place in the software of the industry, like I was speaking about earlier. Like Rekordbox is kind of like a hybrid of all of them. It's trying to do everything. Serato's very much got its culture, within hip hop and turntablism, an open format. Your virtual DJ's very much got its place in, the working event DJ, corporate. and just kind of catch-all, works with all the equipment. Whereas Tractor sort of fills another side of the industry, the people that might be hybrid producers and might have started producing to begin with and then want to go and DJ, and they're already using Native Instruments, other tools and software.
Ecosystem.
Exactly. And then also it's a very powerful software thanks to the fact that its effects are so good, but they're so different. And I think this is such a big unique point of Tractor is that they had like game-changing effects right at the start, but they were so different to Rekordbox and Serato and everything else, and the way you use them was very different, and it meant, should I say, that the house electronic techno scene, it was really built for them, and it's still such a powerful tool for those DJs with the remix decks and those powerful effects. It still really has some USPs in there,
100%.
Even 10 years after all this stuff was made.
Speaking of DJ software, so when this goes live, the video should be live as well. So we've just done a video for and with a brand called DJ Studio. It's an app, basically. DJ software is an app. You might have heard of it. You might have come across it online, but go watch our tutorial. And basically, I've really enjoyed using this app. I heard about it about 9 months ago, and I was a bit dubious because it sort of came to the forefront of this app will auto mix your tracks for you, which obviously from a DJ you go, oh, I want to do that.
We pushed back. At Crossfader, we were like, no, we're not going to pay attention to this. This is like, taking away from what we love as a DJ.
What DJing is, right? And it's like, it might have a purpose for somebody who isn't a DJ, who just wants to put a set list together for a party or something. I thought that's the market, not DJs. After having the chat with them, they realised they come at it wrong, and having used the software, it does so much more than that. Basically, so DJ Studio is a sort of all-in-one app for creating, editing, making mashups, making your own bootlegs, putting set lists together that you could sort of export in a sort of harmonic way if you want. And yeah, go and watch the video. But it's been great. You can basically edit so quickly on the fly, adding some intro drums, adding outro drums, create stems, throw a vocal on another vocal. And I know that there's Ableton out there, there's Logic Pro out there, but this is like built for DJs, and it's not confusing. It's like very intuitive.
Yeah.
If you're a DJ, you'll understand the layout, and it's very sort of minimalistic. There's not loads going on. It's very obvious what this thing can do. As far as the auto mix goes, you can throw in. Let's say you've got a set tonight. You throw in 20 tunes. You can let it organize it by, let's say, key and BPM. Let it organize it and go, yeah, I know that sort of works. I'm gonna throw that in there. Export it straight to Rekordbox. It'll export the playlist straight to your Rekordbox, and then you've got a great set list there for tonight, ready to go. You know it's going to mix well with each other. That's a great tool. It's got intros and outros. So basically, when you've got a track in one of the lanes, you can highlight a section of the song, right click, and it'll give you some options. It'll say copy drums, copy bass, copy melody, copy drums and bass. Basically, it'll just drag out. Let's say you want the drums and bass dragged out. So then you've got the drums and bass of the stems, which you can drag and use as an intro and outro or something. So it's really, really cool. It's a great app. So go and watch the video. It should be out now. We're going to talk about best products of 2024. Before you do that, if you are watching on the new podcast channel, please subscribe. We're nearly at 2,000, which I know it sounds small compared to the big one, but it's a big milestone. I don't know why.
It's amazing. We started that long ago.
Yeah, we started it like a month ago. So if you could subscribe and you're enjoying this, because we have got some good guests coming in next year. Might be able to get one more in this year actually, but definitely next year. Next week we're going to talk about our 2025 predictions as well. Right, there's been a lot of products this year. A lot of products, but maybe not as much as usual. But anyway, some of the best products. So I've gone for best product for beginner. I was looking at the Flex 2, I think. Best product for beginner. DDJ Flex 2. Yeah. It's an improvement from the DDJ 200, which is one of the I'm going to say Pioneer, one of Pioneer's most popular controllers ever. And it's just a mini Flex 4, but it is, it's hard to recommend much else to a beginner than the Flex 2. Works multi-device, doesn't it? It works with your phone on an app,
on laptop.
You've got streaming. It works on your laptop. Works with Rekordbox, the app, and Serato, right? Yeah, and Serato. £150, $150. And I think people are starting to get them. We've got a course on the Flex 2, and we've started to sell some now because we had it at release, and obviously there's been a backlog
It's pre-order, so they've already started shipping.
And I think they're starting to trickle out now, and I reckon they're going to get some by Christmas. So I think Flex 2 will take the title for best beginner. We also had open format. Rain Performer was this year, and because I think of Rain Performer as the Rain 4, which isn't.
It's not now.
But I've used it out, and I really like it. Rain Performer,
motorized jog wheels.
Motorized jog wheels, 4-channel. Really, anything Rain, I just think robust. I'm like, I could throw this. It's
always solid. Isn't it?
They're always so heavy, but you're like, well, I just know that I can throw it in my boot and just go with it. And I've seen some out in the wild as well when I've been DJing. But yeah, any sort of open format turntablist, that kind of thing, it's great for that. Goes against its rival Rev 7 was the year before, which I loved. But I would probably go with Performer. I think it's amazing. Yeah, I think it's sick.
I think it's really good as well.
With XZ, best. Would you say like Pro
AZ
Club? AZ. Best Pro Club controller. AZ.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about it. Everyone was waiting for it. They wanted the 4-channel standalone functionality. It came with that. It is what it is. It's just like a mini, it's a club setup at home.
Yeah.
In an all-in-one unit. There's not much more to it than that.
Pricey.
It's pricey, but good value against 4 CDJs and a DJ and mixer. So 100%. Yeah, I think it was just one of those ones that people were just waiting for. There's not much else to say about it.
Yeah. The Euphonia came out like January, February. You loved that.
Yeah, I loved it.
I didn't even touch it,
I want to get it back here to do some more mixing on it because I just really enjoyed it. We were talking about in previous episodes about the counterculture of DJ technology and people, just making straight own vinyl mixes in cafes and cool spots and filming it, putting it on YouTube. And it's almost the counterculture movement that's happening within the DJ industry that don't want stems, that don't want new technology, they don't want controllers. They're just going back to music and just the simplicity of it. And the Euphonia brought that for me a little bit. Playing on it just reminded me of that age-old thing of just listening intently to mixing and music and nothing else, and it's stripped it all back to that. And yes, it does have a few effects on there, and that was cool, but it was just a new approach to mixing, very different to what you would be used to on CDJs or on a controller, which most people are. It's a very different experience. So I really enjoyed it, and it sounded incredible.
Did he? Yeah. Me and Jamie are thinking about starting a new channel, aren't we?
We don't know about this off the record channel.
Yeah.
Whether to just utilize this.
Would it be this?
We
need some feedback. We're going to do it. We want just a place to just play music.
So I've been hashing out some ideas.
Oh, we're going to start it now. Do you want to invest? We need 100 grand.
I was thinking. We were thinking.
Let's have a meeting online.
Let's have a meeting online. I mean, it'd be good to get feedback.
We need the feedback because we don't know.
We want to do some long form mixes. We do a lot of like the performance based stuff that highlight the new features and stuff on the other channel. Of new controllers, and it's very much all singing, all dancing.
Technology.
10 minutes of this
ADHD.
is what all the buttons do. But then there's the flip side of, we love music and we love mixing, and we share music on the podcast each week, but to put that into just long form mixing, nothing fancy, just for us.
But also like music discovery as well, like finding music and playing.
So I was thinking of doing a show that was a podcast, but the flip side, it's a music podcast. And I was thinking what would be really cool is we get some guests in to play some of their music, and we talk to them and we go back to back with them, and we do a long hour set, go back to back with them. They play some of their latest tunes. We talk about those tunes while they're on, but it's laid back, it's chill. We film it, goes online,
flat white,
and then. But then I was like, do we call it on the record?
On the record,
or do we call it digging deeper with?
I don't know. I still have Crossfader in it or not.
No.
We need some feedback, guys. We need. Oh God. Yeah. we don't have time to make this channel work. Well, I will have a think, but with it's something that's bubbling.
I really want to do
something
it.
that's bubbling away at us. That so when we have an idea, we need to scratch it. Back to the products. So I've got a couple of innovative products. Most innovative products. I don't know if it got released this year, but we had it, which is a Reloop Mixtaur Pro, which you used, which we got, and we're like, actually, it's cool. It's got no jog wheels. Let's see what happens. And the review did like 100,000 views. So like, people are interested, and it doesn't when something has that much attention, there's something in it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I think we said it before when we were talking about it, but it doesn't mean that like this is the thing, but it does just give you a gateway into what might be possible of, do we need all of this stuff anymore? Like, is it, like we were talking about, which is sort of the counter argument to what we're on about of long form mixing on vinyl and stuff. The opposite is like, do we need all this stuff just to play really good music? You know what I mean? Yeah. So it may be like, this isn't the thing that's going to be in like homes and DJ booths, but it might be just the gateway to be like, oh, actually, can we remove half the stuff on controllers? Interesting. And also the Tractor Z1.
Again, it's another like little mixer basically, isn't it? Yeah. Just like the Reloop Mixtaur, there's got that it's the mixer component, and you're getting rid of the jog wheels. And I think that was very much. That's not the first time this has been done. It's been done many, many years ago by Native Instruments even. But I think there's just sync was still a very new thing back then, and it was still kind of frowned upon more than it is now. And there's a lot of judgment around it. When the jog wheels get removed, people are like, "Oh, but it's not DJing." And I think now that sync has improved it more and more and more and more and more, and just to go back at what I said at the start, you do need to not be reliant on sync, or if you are going to be reliant on sync. Do your, go into each track and make sure the grids are right. There's more prep. But because it's got so much better, I think there's definitely a gap for these more modular pieces of equipment where it's, we're not doing backspins. The type of music you're playing on these things, you're not doing crazy backspins. You're not going up and down genres loads and having to push the tempo. And it's more about like, okay, let's just focus on mixing. And here's my mixer, and the software can take care of the rest of it.
Yeah, last one is probably the most controversial one, which was the Omnis Duo, which was like February, I think. And again, it was like first Alpha Theta product.
Was that this year?
It was, it was like first Alpha.
It's been a long year.
First Alpha Theta product. It was like, oh, they are doing it. And then it was like, it was blue. And I'm like, oh, it's got a battery. Oh. it's Matt. What is going on? And like the world were like, half the world was like, no. And then a lot of people just bought it. I've seen so many, you know, on like even like big DJs on like TikTok and on Instagram, just have them at home and stuff, just for mixing. Because obviously it's battery powered. It's quite easy to just take around, stream and stuff. So I do think they've sold a lot of them, and I think anything controversial is probably good and what they're probably trying to do.
It's too expensive.
It's really expensive, guys.
It's just too expensive.
Really expensive, and it's blue.
But this is where some Alpha Theta stuff just feels so expensive for what it is. And then you look at like the Groove 6, which came out. I don't know if we've mentioned that, but
No.
the Groove 6 that came out, and I felt like that was such good value,
Yeah.
like for what you got. And
Yeah.
I get these things, you know, if it's battery powered,
Battery
it's
is
all in one, it's
expensive,
standalone, and they've got to like price it against their other products, and there's so many decisions that go into it. But if you just look at it by itself, it felt like it was just such an outlier in its price point for what it was. And I think they'd shift way more if they brought it down.
Yes. Our Crossfader highlights 2024. We've had a record number of students, and we've launched our courses: the Drum and Bass Beginner, Pro, Open Format, Scratching, and Flex 2. I think that's it. And also our complete package is basically now our joint most popular product. So thanks for anyone. Obviously, it's just been Black Friday. We've had thousands of new students. So hello to any of our new students. And yeah, if the complete package is done really well. If you don't know what it is, it's all of our education combined into one product. So you get all the courses that are in there, which is I think 27, 28 now. Loads of bonus content, and then you get any course that we make next year, the year after that, forever. So yeah, it's amazing to, you know, and it shows how popular DJing is. Like at we're at an all-time high with students joining. There's an all-time high of people wanting to learn how to DJ. It's so much more accessible. The rock stars and the headliners of all festivals are DJs now as well, and music's never been more diverse, but never been more sort of niche down. So you can go and find your niche anywhere. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to compromise anymore, and I think that's amazing. And the big shout out to like the DJ products and the software companies and the streaming services like pushing everything forward and allowing it to be as accessible as it is. You can get started for you can get started for free if you want, like on a laptop and stuff, or your phone. But you know, if you want a controller or anything, it's like $100. Streaming service for $9.99 a month, and you're away with thousands of songs. So
it's exciting because
it's really cool.
We've just touched upon the fact that, you know, there was a period of time where, you know, Traktor, Native Instruments wasn't doing anything. Serato's not been doing anything because there's a whole acquisition thing going on. InMusic's fighting away still, trying to, you know, keep the market thriving with competition against Pioneer. But Pioneer had such dominance for quite a while. You know, there was good big chunks of time where they didn't really have to overthink it.
Yeah, no.
And just in this last year, the fact that Native Instruments are back in the game, the fact that the Serato acquisition didn't happen, so they're going to be, you know, doing more again. And we've got DJ Pro by Algorithm, who are stepping into a new field in a way. And then we've got all the technology with AI and, you know, the ability, the improvement with stems and all this kind of stuff that's rolling out at such a rapid rate. You know, you spoke about DJ Studio, and DJ Studio wouldn't be what it is without stems being pushed first. And Algorithm DJ dropped that, you know, a few years ago and forced everyone else to do the same. And you can just see how I think this year is going to be a catalyst for a lot of change and a lot more diversity in the DJ industry, because it's really proved that, okay, DJing is very popular, so we're all going to get back stuck in and making great products, new software, and utilize this new technology more than anything to push the industry forward. And it's going to be so interesting to see what happens, and I'm sure we're going to be talking about that next week with our predictions.
Highlight of the podcast, highlight as well, obviously, this podcast. Like, thanks for everyone for tuning in. Like I said at the beginning, thanks for all the guests that have come through this year. James Hyde, Matt Knight, Miles, Rob, Zoe. I'm sure there's been a few more, but you know, thanks so much. And yeah, we've collaborated with some great brands on some great content this year and made some great partnerships. We've had partnerships with Tidal, Alpha Theta, Mixcloud, Pirate, Algorithm, talking with Native Instruments and stuff. So a lot of exciting things to come next year, and a lot of content being made this year. Shout out to all the Crossfader team who hopefully I'll play this clip from in the office, but for everybody's hard work and dedication. And we speak quite openly about on this podcast about how much we operate as a small team, and you know, the weeks we're off, we really are devastated to not be able to make it. But it's
Yeah.
just physically impossible. But we try our best to show up. And yeah, thanks for the whole team for holding the fort down while we come and chat a lot of shit to you guys every week. A few cool social media milestones on YouTube. We've done 19 million views this year.
Nice.
Getting 90,000 subscribers, and we're at 675,000 subs. Instagram has grown by 57,000 followers. TikTok by 85,000 followers. And also we've enjoyed connecting on different platforms, like Discord's really grown. Threads as well. We've quite enjoyed growing on Threads. We just set up a broadcast community on Instagram as well, which you can connect with us as well on there. Nice to just connect, because people use social media differently.
Yep.
People are everywhere. We want to be everywhere as well. Next week we are going to talk about looking forward to 2025 as well. So make sure you're tuned in. So speaking of DJ Studio, we are going to play some tunes for you. We're going to do add to playlist. I can't give you these players because I've made them all, but I just wanted to sort of showcase. I made all of these mashups in DJ Studio. Honestly, they all took less than.
Do I get to judge them?
Well, they all. It's more highlighting how quick it was. All of these took about 30 seconds, and I'm not lying. They're just simple sort of mashups and stuff. But I was playing a gig, and I had DJ Studio open, and I made one, and I was like, oh my god, that's ridiculously easy to make that. And I thought, let me find. I was basically going around like, what tracks can't I play? What tracks do I play too much? And sort of combining them. So let's just play a few mashups that I made within DJ Studio. Let's go with this one. Can you hear that? Joy Anonymous.
Yep.
Sammy Virgin.
Yeah. So were you really thinking about just like instrumental acapellas or
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally. Simple.
By the time you hear the next pop, the funk shall be within you.
I got a bone up here.
Oh, nice.
What you monkey mouth motherfucker sitting in my throne again?
I'm mad. Childish Gambino.
Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar, yeah.
Which way you and I was walking? Now I run the game.
Oh, yeah, King Kunta. Yeah. It works nice.
Nice.
Was it in the
Not
original key or did it have to?
No.
That was,
Had to pitch it down again.
Yeah.
Just click one button, pitch it down.
and it's telling you to do that. Like it tells you.
Well, you can see that in the grid lane. It gives you the key in the grid lane.
Yeah.
So I could see it was in 9A or whatever it was, and Kendrick was in 4A or whatever. You just click on 4A and it shows you 9A. You probably goes to 9A. He's like, yeah,
So good.
good.
Nice. Did you play all these out?
I played all these out. Yeah,
Nice, yeah.
Played all these out. It was a
Any
few-
that had a specific reaction?
Yeah, this one. This one did all right because it's like the biggest vocal at the minute.
Right. At night.
Yeah, bit of
Is
an
it
edit.
a big tune
Well,
at the
no,
moment?
that isn't. This vocal is, but I love At Night, and it's,
Yeah,
it's an
yeah.
edit of that.
Yeah, yeah.
With Money Talks basically.
Oh, nice.
I've no excuse. I just want you to use
Did you put a reverb on that, or was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put the
Yeah,
reverb
yeah.
on, and there's a bit of a loop in this as well. It's a bit more advanced.
All right. Okay. Straight away, I was like, yeah, reverb works there. Like, nice. One button. One button.
Money talks.
Money talks.
Dirty cash, I want you. Dirty cash.
Weird how songs come back around. This is like
It's
the
so weird.
biggest song.
Yeah. Is it? Yeah. This reminds me of when I used to go out like multiple times a week. Okay.
Looping that bit,
Yeah.
filtering it out, easy.
Dirty cash, I need you more.
Brought it back in before the drop. Yeah. So this is where it's interesting. So, I mean, it sounds sick, but there's definitely got to be an element of you've got to kind of like played around as a DJ to really level up with DJ Studio, because you've got to kind of understand structure and where things need to be placed, and you know, just the fact of like, is it in key or not. I think those are just a few little things that you get from just learning the basics of DJing that then allow you to think, okay, if I'm not doing this live, then what are the possibilities of me tweaking this further than beyond my skill set right now? And it might unlock people's skill set a bit faster to be able to get to the idea that they have in the mind, because to create that loop, then jump back to a hot cue, You know, that's maybe a bit more advanced for people at that beginner stage, but they might know in the head of like from listening to other music, it'd sound cool if I could loop this vocal right now and then like jump back to it. But if DJ Studio, they can program it a bit more. They can kind of work on those ideas and hash them out a bit more, which is quite cool.
And I think any beginners, like I struggle even when, you know, is this song in key, is it not? And it's like, just to be able to click it and put it in key and you go, oh yeah, that sounds way better. And you're like, cool, let me put this together. Because some DJs might do mashups live, and you might have had an acapella for ages and you've done a mashup. And it might have been out of key forever. It doesn't matter, but like, you know what I mean? You put it in studio, you're like, oh, actually, now this sounds a little bit better.
Yeah.
Let's try this one.
It's quite easy to commercialize any set, isn't it?
Well, I can't really play the dubstep version of this because I don't really play dubstep. It's a bit slow for the gig I was doing.
Yeah.
So I was like, I play a lot of garage. So I was like, well, same tempo, isn't it?
So I sip this drink as I hold it gaze. Oh, when we erupt into the room.
Nice.
Simple.
Yeah, well,
simple.
I'm feeling easy to resume. This right here, I swear will end too soon.
Simple one.
Yeah, it's good that you can take, if there's songs that you think it's not going to land quite well with my audience, but I really want to play it. Like, what vocal can I just slam over it?
Similar to
what
this,
do they love? Let me get that song and just put it over this song that I love.
Similar to this. A bit more of a garage again, just to fit into what I was playing. Like the original White Noise just wouldn't have hit as the same.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that works.
works, doesn't it?
So well. Do you know what? And this is like that superpower to making your sets unique,
100%.
because you can slam stuff together pre-gig that nobody else has necessarily got, the audience haven't heard, but you can just make quick edits and remixes like that will just make your set a bit more unique. And again, like you were saying, if you're playing residencies week in, week out, you could take that vocal, slam it over something else for next week, and it means that they're still getting that same track, but it's not. They're getting a different version of it the next week, rather than you just playing the same thing every week in, week out. So that's cool. You could even, when you come to it, just make 5 different mashups of White Noise, and then you've got 5 weeks worth of White Noise to play. But you're not repeating your set for 5 weeks. As a resident DJ. So there's a few little things.
This one I made was a cool edit. It's got like 4 or 5 different acapellas, because there's this section of, I don't really play much hip hop and stuff, but they will sing to hip hop vocals. So I put all like the big hip hop tracks into like one track. So
mega mashup.
Yeah, it was kind of like that. Where is it? Skip on. So it's got Drake.
Shake that ass for me. Bend that ass over. Let that coochie breathe. Shake that ass, bitch.
So it goes into that.
Hands on your knees. Hands on your knees. Hands on your knees. Shake that ass for Drake.
I get those goosebumps every time.
Mega mashup.
Yeah.
And it's got some other.
And everyone can just have a sing along.
It's got sicko mode. Sicko mode in there.
13 hours till I land. Had me out like a light. Like a light.
And then it's like goes to Kendrick.
I like Lord knows 20 of them in my Chevy. Tell them all to come and get me, reaping everything I sow. So my karma come in heaven, no preliminary hearings on my record. I'm a motherfucking gangster, silence for the record. Tell the world I know it's too
Again, making it easy to combine genres.
But like I say, all I did for that, right, is dragged all of the tracks in. It puts them all in the BPM right. You extract all of the vocals, and when you drag the vocal over to the instrumental track, it then puts it just in time for you straight away. So it's like, honestly, it took like 2 minutes. So yeah, really cool. So yeah, go and check out that video. It should be out now. Thanks for listening, guys. We will be back next week with our 2025 predictions. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Peace out.